purchasing. Then you want to pull the actual bond issuance, which will have all the closing costs, and that beautiful government form says it all.
I'm going to pass around if you would send it back. This is what an Oprah looks like. For you guys all to start filing your own. So send it around, please.
Could you detail the nature of those closing costs?
To go back, basically it's going to tell you insurance, the cost of an attorney finding an insurance company, the bond solicitor, the underwriter. Let me tell you, that's about the 4 things that the closing costs are involved in, and it is enormous of how much they're paid for boilerplate. This is boilerplate. All you.
How do you really influence that?
How do I influence?
How do you influence that as average citizen?
That's the next part of it.
That'll be the next part, honest and truly. What I wanted to do, I pulled up our budget because I wanted to know how much money our town takes in, $45 million. And then we just, well, actually Donna found this out, how many homes are in our town. And I'm just trying to, we have condos, we have trailers, we have farm properties, we have homes, we've got McMansions, we've got little ranchers. So I'm just trying to make everything kind of equal. If we take how much money we take in, it would cost about $9,000 per home to bring in that 45 million. I pay more than that, but I'm just trying to give you a visual. What's it going to take to bring that down $1,000? You got to eliminate $5 million worth of debt. That's the only way. And I've thought about it in a couple of different ways. I did a resolution for our town not to be able to do any refunding without voter approval. And the more and more I thought about it, and then I thought, well, maybe we should just, declare bankruptcy. I said, nah, that wouldn't work either, because then that only gives the bankers the right to come back and take properties. So then I thought, you know what we really need to do? How about repudiate the debt? None of us were ever asked to approve this kind of spending. We did not authorize it. Therefore, put it right back to the insurance companies, put it right back to the bankers and to the attorneys that sold us into servitude. And that's the only way, because when I look at 15 million of my township debt, guess what? How much money is that? That's $3,000 worth of tax bill savings. I look at that 15 million of refunded school debt. Now I'm up to 6 million or 6,000. And if I was to really take and repudiate every bit of the county debt, now that's spread over 24 towns. But if I can do that, maybe each person would save another $2,000. I'm being very generous here, because it'd probably be more. You mean my tax bill would only be $4,000 then, and I would save $8,000? I'll take that in a heartbeat, because that would help me pay for my food, pay my gasoline, which keeps going through the roof. Most of it is debt. And I'm just trying to touch on a lot of things, because there are a lot of things that are happening in our town that are really not what they seem. I'm going to broach on this very quickly, because a lot of people, some are aware, some are not. The United Nations had an initiative about 20 years ago of how they could divest us of our property. And it's called Livable Communities, Sustainable Development, and Smart Growth. And I know that sounds really far-fetched. It's just, bear with me, because I had never heard about a lot of this, but then I looked at the grants that my town gets. And they have $15,600 for something called Livable Communities. What is that? And $5,000 for Smart Growth. And that really concerned me, because I thought, well, maybe, that was somebody else's town, not our little community. I looked at the county of Gloucester back in 2005. I wanted to know where all its grant money came from. They received $250,000 in smart growth. The project numbers are from 498 to 604. That's 106 different projects that these tentacles can go out. It could be to different towns. It could be different projects. It's something that we also need to address and adjust. Most of you, the Greenhouse Gas Initiative. It's on all of our electric bills. We need to stop that also. I want you to understand something, that this is unconstitutional. There's 10 states came together, formed a treaty, including New Jersey, to initiate this. Maine has since opted out, so there are still 9 states. Governor Christie has actually funded this by $10 billion. We've got to stop. So I'm just trying to, here's a cap and trade resolution. We are not going to participate. We want you to stop it at our town level. I've had a senator watch this presentation. I've had an assemblyman watch this presentation from New Jersey and said, you are absolutely right. If you get your towns to pass this resolution, you chokehold Trenton, you chokehold the federal government, you chokehold the county. You bring them back to you. And that's why I do have this resolution on bond. I wanted to say repudiation. Again, this has been a work in progress, so it's still being tweaked. But I just come back to this, and it's just really simple. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, and they derive their powers from the consent of the governed. Folks, you're the consent. You're the governed. And if you don't stand up and be heard and start taking back your towns, well, let me explain something. You're going to lose your freedoms. You have to reestablish those freedoms. These are your property rights that are really being taken away. And if you just sit back, become complacent, the thieves, which are at all levels of government, are going to continue to pilfer from you. And so I do hope you get involved. I'd like to bring Adrian or Donna. Do you have anything to say on that?
We can stop this. The key is to look at the town level. Go to your township committee meetings. It's going to take time to understand all of the details about this, but ask questions. Just keep asking questions. I guarantee tonight you already know more than many of the township committee members just from seeing this presentation.
Yeah, it's true. This smart growth initiative, where we're moving forward. How did the state or county sign up for that?
Okay, how I see how it happened, you see, we have a zoning board. They meet. We have a planning board. It meets. We have an economic development board. It meets. We have this project, maybe the water district. Each of these different departments never knows what the other department is doing. So maybe this department has 2 pieces of the puzzle, or this one has 1, and this one has 3, and this one has 4. But nobody knows what that puzzle's going to look like until it comes together. And if you only work on your facet of it, and you aren't able to go to every single meeting, you won't know either. That's why it's going to take a group. You're going to need a committee of 3 or 4 people. This person attends these meetings, and you listen for the buzzwords. That's it. And then ask them about it.
But this is a global UN initiative.
Yes.
How does that get down to the municipal?
It's something that has been in the plan for a long, long time.
If you want to know where you can find exactly what you're asking. And where the embezzled money ends up, a good deal of it, I strongly suggest you Google on YouTube, Corporation Nation.
Yeah.
I hate watching videos, and I know you like them, and I never recommend them. But I promise you people, if you invest that 194 minutes, all documented by the government record, you will cross a learning curve over the last 20 years. Not only will light bulbs light up and have you sitting on the floor with the revelations, but if that does not bring you to the point of revolution, and I'm not saying bloody revolution, we've
No,
got
just
the
stand up.
Constitution.
Basically, I just wanted to touch on this because I feel it is important that you are aware that this is being infiltrated into all of our communities. However, I really want you to focus on the bond debt. This is money that will reduce your taxes. Really, I will have on this webpage, I'm going to send it to Amy, but you'll be able to click on to it, download your own resolution. You'll be able to fill in your own town. Look, you don't have to go and do this all by yourself. If each and every single person in this room went to one person's township meeting, and maybe you had 4 or 5 people that live in that town get up and speak and ask for this to be done, and everybody, you don't have to speak, but new faces really go a long way. And then maybe the next town you do that, and the next town, because you're going to have to come together to do this. You can't do it by yourself. You're stronger in numbers. That's about all I can really say. Yeah.
To hammer on this again one more time, how did you draw the connection between that smart growth and the UN initiative?
I read
Follow
something
the
about
money.
it.
So
You
that's
follow
how you
the
do it.
money.
I read something on it which we'll hand out, but
There's
that,
one article about this that pieces it together. I have a copy for everyone tonight if you want to look at it. Contact us if you have any questions. It's very convoluted and difficult, but when you see the buzzwords, you see how it's being implemented in your town and in your county. There are already several counties who have opted out of this.
yes.
We're going to show you how to do it.
What kind of power does it give them?
Back in 1992 or 91, the Bush signed, I think it was 1, 2, I wrote it down somewhere, 1, 2, 3, 8, executive order. It was called, let me just put it right in my head, the Privatization of Public Property Act,
Yeah.
or something like that.
It was
In
Clinton who
effect-
funded it.
No, it was Bush 1.
Okay, but he
funded
signed it, yes,
Okay,
but
yes,
Clinton.
well,
They
you
all
have to
work
understand,
together at this level.
There's one
They're at a
party,
different level.
a global oligarchy. They fight with each other for power, but both parties are heavily vested into turning us up to global governance. And so the answer is not the GOP. They're part of it.
Right, but I'm saying, how does that initiative work that it gives them power over you?
For instance, the Environmental Protection Agency.
Okay.
Try to put a shed on your property, you have a
Yeah,
puddle of
I
water
already
there,
know that. I'm
you just lost control of
exterminated.
your property.
Why do you
That's
think-
how
why
it's
do you
being
think you have
implemented.
bed bugs?
Yeah.
Well, it's the overregulation that you see when each municipal code that says, oh, well, it doesn't just have to be safe, you need to get a permit for plumbing or electricity, but just to change your ceiling light. Now they have, it's just a march toward Big Brother, over control, money, property list taking it over. But what I wanted to do first is say, is Deb not fabulous?
Thank you.
If we had 20 of her, New Jersey would be ours.
It-
And so that's what we're here, looking to get.
You just have to really go after the money. The money is the root to all evil. If you cut it off, that is, if you can cut it off, I'll tell you, you can save your towns. The bonds are going to crash at some point or another because they're just kicking the can down the road. So Right, so if you could save $6,000 to $8,000 on your taxes, why not?
Yeah, let me show 'em.